So what do I believe is the most underserved age demographic in functional CPG and one that might provide the least amount of resistance for growth? So the age demographic that I'm talking about is this 50 and older crowd. And if you want to think about this from a generational standpoint, you are considering, baby boomers and then the oldest generation Xers. And you might be wondering, like, why does a management consultant, strategy consultant that is a millennial, that works in functional CPG, that is very much focused on millennials and on older generation Z buyers at this point, like, why would I even worry much about this 50 and older crowd? Because there's just boundless opportunities with brands that are kind of focusing on a younger age demographic. And the answer to that's pretty simple. I mean, I'm looking for opportunities all around. I'm looking for diamonds in the rough for clients. I am always looking at trends. I'm seeing how trends can be manipulated within different variables or different contexts. And as I've worked on some exploratory type projects with functional CPG brands towards an older demographic, and had the opportunity to work for a few brands that do in part have a older skewed shopper demographic, it's opened my eyes to just a bunch of different opportunities to take some of the trends and kind of apply it in a different way for a consumer set that is growing. And I think it's important to kind of frame this for the opportunity. I mentioned that this is a growing population. Americans at this point, I think the age expectancy is somewhere around 79 years old. As Americans and just globally, people live longer, they remain active longer because they're aging better. Space in the market for these older consumers that are seeking to be healthier and active longer. It seems like functional CPG brands are just not capitalizing completely on the opportunity. So if you've been following along on my channel, you might remember I put out a video, can't remember, a few months ago. I'll make sure that I link it, or I'll make sure I'll do a pop-up for you guys on the top of the screen if you guys do want to watch that one. But it was based around a report, some market analysis and survey information that was geared around just some of the differences in terms of nutritional supplements, like functional CPG products, and the different generational differences, like how they, what kind of products maybe they were looking for, what they were engaging with from a marketing standpoint. So make sure you guys do watch that one if you are a little bit more interested in some of that breakdown across all the generational buying groups. But baby boomers still represent about half of the consumer spending every year. And as they're aging and as they're looking to remain active longer, they're naturally looking for products that would enhance that. Now you might be thinking, how do I even market to this older generation? I'm used to doing social media. I'm used to using the tools that are available on the tool belt today. I don't really know a lot about other marketing from generations past. I think you'd be surprised to understand that baby boomers, the 50 and older crowd, does spend a lot of time on social media. They might approach social media a little bit differently. They research more. They're interested more with connecting with friends, but they do a ton of shopping as well. Somewhere around like 40% of online purchases are actually made by people 50 and older. So still utilizing social media marketing framed in the right way will work. That might be utilizing more Facebook or more YouTube, which primarily I would assume mostly utilizing those anyways, maybe not so much Instagram or Snapchat or something like that. Thinking in terms of like influencer marketing, like who would you approach to be an influencer? Are there influencers that are 50 and older? And that might seem funny, and I'm laughing a little bit because I'm just picturing people asking that question, because to me, when I first was thinking about it too, I was like, you don't see it that often, or at least the definition in which we think about social media influencing, it's a little bit outside of just your first image, which you would think about. But baby boomers, older generation, enjoys influencer marketing in the sense of like they're in the same age, they're living a successful life, aspirational, in which maybe the shopper wants to live. They're more inclined to respond to useful information or positive information. And this is not all that different than other generations. We are also looking at people in the same age range that are living aspirational lives that we want to kind of attain to be. We might have more extreme levels of different things, but most of the engagement is staying in that lane regardless of the generational differences. So why can't you launch a social media campaign or influencer marketing campaign that has people over 50 doing amazing things in this world that would be aspirational? It should fundamentally apply the same as if it did for millennials. And to transition into like the product side of this, there are obviously similarities and differences in generational buying groups. 50 and older crowd is definitely more skewed toward things that are going to be focusing on healthy aging. Could be, skin and muscle, joint, heart, digestion, brain. Those aren't necessarily only for this crowd, but they are something that more focused on, more interesting for that crowd. They also are buying a lot of the bigger functional CPG categories, the ready-to-drink protein items. If you think about this, like Ensure or Boost, they're buying a bunch of those types of products. Protein bars, you see a lot of other kind of functional foods and functional beverages that are getting purchased by 50 and older crowd. But what you don't see is those products necessarily, one, positioned correctly to the buying group and speaking directly to the buying group, and not necessarily trying to be everything to everyone. And if it just so happens to be generational neutral in terms of packaging, maybe the older generation will pick it up. You're not seeing product propositions or angles or the way you formulate something that is really specified towards the 50 and older crowd. And if you do see those things, you see them generally in an off-trend way, both in the look, creativity of it. The packaging look, the way that it's built is not necessarily on trend with some of the brand development today. You're also not seeing a lot of the emerging side of product development. Some of these emerging or bleeding edge type of product concepts, even in the idea of plant-based or keto or any of those types of things, you're not seeing any of that positioned in a way for a 50 and older crowd. So I think there's a huge, immense opportunity for brands to attack that and be kind of first in and really build out that brand equity in that market. Because as those emerging trends mature into big product categories, then you have players coming in. You have them trying to try to capitalize on that. But my argument is, especially in today's world of low barriers of entry and your ability to make and sell and commercialize brands in a smaller test environment before you launch out to large food, drug, mass, convenience, any of those types of channels, you have the ability to get in earlier on these trends. So my hope is, whoever's watching this, if you had any thoughts around this, feel free to obviously contact me if you do want to, kind of talk about this a little bit deeper and try to figure out if this maybe could work on a new brand development or repositioning a legacy brand. But regardless, I hope this topic just expands your thoughts a little bit more around the immense amount of opportunity in the functional CPG industry. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.